Throughout my life, believe it or not, I never really got political. I was always very lighthearted, go with the flow. I kind of kept the peace. I was kind of the girl that cracked the jokes in the classroom, and I avoided conflict where possible. I was that 12-year-old girl in science class that opted out of the sheep lung dissection because I thought it was, really sad and I was grossed out by it. I was also that 14-year-old girl that when I came home and saw that my dad was boiling lobsters for dinner, my brother stood there crying in protest and I ran out of the house and went for a walk. I was that 16-year-old girl that came across slaughterhouse footage and shut it off and said, "Ooh, I don't want to watch it. I can't look at it." So over and over again, I ran away from the truth and the reality of suffering. And I've come to realize we don't run away from these things because we don't care. We run away from it because we're trying to protect ourselves. We're trying to protect ourselves from the fear that we may be the cause of the suffering, or even worse, that we may not be able to stop it. But one day, like many of you here today, I decided to stop running from it, and I went to a vigil with the SAVE movement. It was October 4th, 2018, in Newark, New Jersey, and it was around 6 in the morning, and I showed up, and the smell, it's something the videos don't show you, right? And there were 2 large trucks that were parked on the side of this busy street. There were cows, sheep, and goats that were in this truck. And about 100 of these people awaited their deaths. People whose expiration dates had been set for them the day they were born. People who were separated from their families. People whose bodies were violated their entire lives. People who were shouted at, kicked at, innocent people whose stories had been hidden under the context of tradition, habit, taste, protein, religion, all the things we hear, right? And I call them people because they are. They have souls, emotions, they feel love, they feel fear. And the term animal can sound demeaning, and I think it sometimes separates us from what is actually happening to these people. And I approached this one person gently that morning, and I spoke to her quietly, and I just repeated the words, "I love you, and I'm so sorry. So sorry." Like, what can you say, And this might have been the first time that she had heard any sort of kind words from a human, and maybe the last. And I remember I stroked the bridge of her nose, it peeked through the truck, and she seemed to like it, and she actually came closer, and she looked back with these eyes, and I could hear what she was saying just through her eyes. And they said so much, and she was so tired and defeated, and like most of them were. And I told her, while I can't save you, I promise to do whatever I can to save the future of you and to stop this from happening. And I gave her water that morning, and I filmed as much as I could to post online. And then she was taken inside and murdered. That day, I received dozens of messages online. That one vigil, it showed me the impact, because it was the first time that some of these humans were faced with the reality and with the truth. And their responses, I think, were just their way of coping with the question of, am I part of the problem? Throughout college, I went every other week to these Newark Animal Save vigils. I have my shirt on here. And I brought filmmakers, non-vegans, I connected with other vegans. And every time I went, I was reminded of why we must never stop speaking up. Because right now, there are people entering these slaughterhouses. I used to be that girl that went with the flow, that kept the peace, that ran away from the suffering. But now, I am that woman that gets closer to it because I know it is the reality, and we are changing it. Thank you.